Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first Attleborough Town Council meeting of 2026, being held this evening, Monday the 5th of January at 7 p.m. And on that basis, I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Item 2, apologies for absence.
I think everyone's here.
Everyone's here?
Apart from we had a resignation.
Yeah, I'm just going to announce that. Yeah, we had a resignation over the Christmas period of Councillor Alan Reynolds. I'd like to thank him for his efforts, and we look forward to replacement being appointed in due course. Item 3, declarations of interest and dispensations. Anybody any takers? Yep.
A personal non-renewing interest in number 6, please.
Number 6.
And the same for myself, please.
Thank you. Okay.
Probably applies to 7 as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And 8A.
And 8A. Right. Moving on to item 4, public participation number 1. 10 minutes, please. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, item 8, finance, just a few little bits and pieces. There's a continuation of the excessive spending, which I've already mentioned a couple of times. This month, the electricity bill of over £500 against an income of £30. The building appears to be a bit of a white elephant, it's draining funds. So it's just a general point, when's this going to end, when's this waste going to end? Then, what was the total income and expenditure for the council Christmas market and night switch on? In the finance records, you show there's about £550 expenditure and an income of 237 cash from 169 card payments. There was previously talk that fees paid by stallholders will be passed on to the Lights Committee. I don't know if that's happened or not. The finance documents don't show it. If so, how much does council intend to hand over to the Lights Committee and when? And the Lights Committee already had a large grant this financial year. So under what circumstances are they then awarded more money without having to apply for the grant scheme? So that's the first bit on finances. If you've got any comments?
With regards to the Christmas lights, they apart from £50 where I inadvertently gave our bank account to a stallholder, which has now been passed back to Christmas lights. It was any payments that were due directly from stallholders went directly to the Christmas lights bank account, so it didn't actually pass through the town council.
So the full income and expenditure was at 550 expenditure, yeah, and the 237 and 169 income. That there is no other.
I can't confirm that because obviously when Anne does the accounts, she kind of sometimes inputting and that sort of thing comes last. So I don't know if she's input the information as yet.
Given the controversy of the change, it might be worthwhile for the public in making that information transparent and available.
It will become transparent when she's put the figures in, but at the moment she's not working a full-time week. So.
And the other bit was on item 9, the policies. The shopfront policy change proposed by Alan Reynolds is no longer a councillor. So can you clarify if the motion can lawfully be discussed and voted on, given that it's no longer a councillor? That same document outlining the motion says all of the conditions of the shop frontage grants policy will continue to apply unless explicitly amended on the motion. That's not true, because the amended policy shows a 3-month application period, changing to a monthly basis. So that's a change there, but the motion says there is no other change. Also, in the social media policy, it refers to the CEO of the town council, which I don't believe is a position that's in existence. So that policy came in May this year. So I think it's something you might pick up at a later date.
I've got that already picked up, so ready to cross out when I do the amendments. So I have picked that up already. But when we get to that item, I'll also mention all the others I've picked up, which aren't many.
So just to confirm, can the motion proposed by Alan Reynolds go the proposer is no longer here.
We go to
I would have said,
tricky one.
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't think that the proposer or the seconder will negate the motion itself. The motion, regardless of who proposes and seconds it, would be the same. It could then be proposed and seconded by an alternative councillor. But if councillors are uncomfortable with that, I'm not feeling precious about the item being withdrawn.
Might be worth checking your standing orders. The same might indicate slightly differently.
You got a movie.
Okay. And that's it, thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Westby,
Oh.
might I suggest if Councillor Taylor's happy for the motion to be withdrawn, we move on? And Sharon can give the answers to the residents.
I just wondered if it was
Yeah,
readily
I'm in
available,
there,
but
I'm in there. It says that we a motion moved on notice.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll go with Councillor Taylor's.
I think to be just on the safe side, perhaps we should.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else, please? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Moving on. Item 5, minutes of the last meeting held on the 1st of December 2025. Councillor Bertram.
Happy to propose to accept.
Anyone second? Councillor Burrows? I'll be abstaining because I wasn't present, so all those in
Can
favour?
I just, actually, it says councillors present, J Taylor, T Taylor, and then it says apologies for absence, Councillor J Taylor.
Okay. So I've got to take J Taylor off the councillors present because John wasn't at that meeting.
But then it doesn't say I was present either. I declared an item.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've just put J Taylor instead of S.
It's just a typo, isn't it?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll do it. Yeah, that's fine.
Subject to that amendment, all those in favour?
That's majority.
Carried.
1 abstention.
Okay, thank you.
Don't sign that.
Yeah. Right, moving on to item 6, the Brecon car park proposal to consider a motion to reverse a decision within 6 months to purchase Queen Square car park, Attleborough for consideration and resolution. Do you want to lead on that as you propose?
Yeah, I formally request for this item to be revisited because the original purchase of Queen Square car park was in breach of our section 13 of financial regs. There was no independent valuation, there was no survey completed, and no business plan or consultation.
Okay.
I don't feel that there was enough debate or enough rationale for the decision to be obviously proposed by Councillor Dalton.
Is that new information that you've come up with? Because unless there is brand new information that wasn't heard at the time, we would be in breach of the Standing Order 7, where it says you cannot revisit a resolution unless new information comes to light within 6 months.
or,
Councillor Burrows first.
oh sorry,
New information, there was no information in the car park thing about the street lighting which we're going to take, the charging point, there was no mention of that, and the CCTV that we will have to operate or be owned but have no access to. So those points weren't raised in the original meeting, so that's...
Yeah, you're telling me what wasn't raised.
well, that's different. That's you asked
you
for
could
things.
you could go into that with a fine tooth comb and say, you know,
Yeah, but that's quite a big
lining or
part of
whatever.
it. That's quite a big part of the whole thing.
But what I'm asking is, what new information has
Well,
come
that is
to
new.
light?
We didn't understand that. We tried to ask questions, but nothing was put forward.
Councillor Allen.
can I add to Sharon's standing order that also it's or a special motion is requested by 6 councillors. I believe 6 councillors have requested that this motion be put onto the agenda to revisit the item.
6, I think it was 4, wasn't it?
So,
I'll read it out.
it is 4, yes, but
It's 4
6
councillors.
have actually requested. Yeah.
Yeah, a resolution, whether affirmative or negative, of the council shall not be reversed within 6 months, except either by a special motion,
Yes.
the written notice whereof bears the names of at least 4 members of the council, or by a motion moved in pursuance of the report or recommendation of the committee. Now, the key word here is unless. So that unless applies to both the and or, unless new evidence comes to light that was not considered at the time.
But the motion was passed on, in breach of financial regs. So it's
Which is illegal.
It's a legal motion.
New evidence or not,
It's against our section 30 financial regs. That is that.
Yeah, but did that not get explained?
No.
No.
Didn't Taylor
No,
explain?
no,
So
it didn't
Yeah,
get.
Councillor
We get told that there's information presented to us,
Come on,
but there
Councillor
is no
Taylor speak.
information presented to us.
If I may, there was a lot of points on this subject that I wanted to cover, so I did prepare something in advance. So if you'll please just indulge me. I wish to support the council's original decision to proceed with the purchase of Queen Square Car Park and to oppose the attempt to overturn that decision. Scrutiny is both healthy and necessary, and questions around cost and governance are entirely legitimate. However, the concerns being raised this evening do not justify reopening or reversing a decision that has already been lawfully made, properly authorised by this council, and which I firmly believe is in the long-term interests of Attleborough. It has been suggested that councillors were asked to take on an open-ended financial commitment without any cost information being provided. That is not an accurate reflection of what occurred. When this matter was previously debated at full council, members were given the number of car parking spaces and a pro rata maintenance cost per space derived from Breckland's data. That information allowed councillors to understand the indicative scale of maintenance costs. Those figures were never intended to be definitive, and nor could they be. They reflect Breckland's district-wide maintenance regime, not what this council would choose to spend as the owner of a single, well-maintained asset. Even if Breckland were able to provide the exact costs for this specific car park, that would still only tell us what their approach costs them, not what ownership would cost us. Once acquired, this council would have full discretion over how that car park is maintained, to what standard and to what budget. That is precisely one of the benefits of ownership. It is also worth stating that the car park is currently in good condition, and there is no evidence to suggest any significant maintenance costs are likely in the near future. Specific concerns have also been raised about the street lighting, the EV charging points and CCTV. These are not unknown or imposed liabilities. They are assets and services that the council would control. The council would be free to decide whether to retain them, how they are operated, and what level of expenditure is appropriate. In the case of the EV charging in particular, there is also the potential for income generation. These matters are operational decisions that follow acquisition. They are not reasons to abandon ownership altogether. It has further been claimed that financial regulations have not been followed. I do not accept that. The relevant regulation 13D has been fully observed. The council was already has already authorised the purchase, having been provided with and having considered both a report and valuation information. Any remaining due diligence is properly a matter for the council's solicitors prior to completion. The financial regulations do not specify that a business case must be produced before agreement or acquisition, only that one is prepared as part of the process. A business case can therefore be brought to the council at any point of the completion alongside the legal documentation and still be compliant with Financial Regulation 13D. In the same way, consultation can be undertaken between now and completion to inform implementation without requiring the decision itself to be overturned. The real issue before us this evening is not transparency or process, it's risk. Some members are proposing that we overturn the decision in order to pursue the possibility of acquiring the car park at no cost under the general disposal consent. That route is not guaranteed. It would require the Town Council to produce written evidence demonstrating economic, social or environmental wellbeing benefits, and for Breckland Council to determine that this evidence meets the specific legal tests set out in legislation. If it does not, then the option falls away entirely and the asset is lost. That is a gamble. By contrast, the agreed purchase price is £145,000, against which a commuted sum of £101,061 would be returned to this council. That leaves a net cost of just over £43,000. Given the importance of Queen Square Car Park to our high street and local economy, it's extraordinary to me that we would risk losing control of it in an attempt to save £43,000. And in my view, £43,000 is a reasonable and proportionate sum to pay for certainty, control and long-term security over a vital town centre asset. There is also a significant timing risk that must not be ignored. If this decision is overturned, time will be lost preparing a consultation, undertaking it and returning to council for a further decision. During that delay, local government reorganisation may well mean that that decision is no longer ours to take. If the car park remains outside of the Town Council's ownership, future charging policies could be imposed that would seriously damage our high street, and that risk is very real. This is not the moment for penny pinching on an asset of such strategic importance. We have a lawful decision, a clear and affordable net cost, and an opportunity to secure a long-term control of a facility that underpins our town centre. To overturn that decision would replace certainty with speculation and prudence with unnecessary risk. I therefore urge members to stand by the original decision and vote against overturning the purchase of Queen Square Car Park. Thank you.
Councillor Dalton.
My view is still the same. We should still be buying at least this one car park. We won't have the option on the other two, but it's better to protect it now rather than later. I find that some of my colleagues are procrastinating and basically stating not accurate information. We were told on the day how much the lighting and plumbing and the drainage and such actually costs.
You can't mislead the council. That's not true. That's not true, council. You cannot mislead the council, Councillor Dalton.
I'm not misleading
You are.
the council.
That was not stated at that meeting.
We
That
had
was not
two of
stated.
members
We
of
did, that's
Breckland
correct.
here
That's
who
correct.
gave information, and Councillor Adams actually raised a lot of questions, which was good. However, they answered and said proportionally they budget things for car parks. If they spent their budget for car parks, other car parks wouldn't get replaced or repaired. So it's all down to budgets, that was. And they said what the estimated budget would be for drainage and electric lighting.
There was none of that. That was not in the meeting.
It was across the board, but it was there.
I do remember writing down £35, which is what
Well, I was actually going to say the deputy leader from Breckland Council was here. She was present at the last meeting. She actually supplied the information. She might be able to clear up some of the questions.
No, thank you.
Excuse, I'm not asking your opinion, I'm asking the mayor's opinion to suspend standing orders and allow that member to talk. I'm not asking your permission, I'm asking the mayor's.
Councillor Adams, have you got anything to add to that?
What I was going to ask was, well, I can't get my head around it. Obviously, I'm a bit new here anyway, but why are we paying £145,000 to get £100,000 back, perhaps, if we can get all of the money back? Because of course, Brecon Council will cease to exist in a couple of years' time. So what guarantee have we got that we're going to get the rest of that community stuff? And why haven't we this time anyway? Why don't we just pay the price that there are this 40-odd thousand as opposed to 145? I can't understand the logic behind that.
Councillor Taylor.
I'm trying to find a way to actually say it, but I don't come across as standoffish and as condescending as I can be as a Gen Xer. The £145,000, the commuted sum will come back, so I don't see why that's an issue. If it's coming back, it's coming back. It's there. The figure is £44,000 to secure an asset. We have a brand new councillor sat at this table who ran his campaign, although he didn't need to, on that he was going to save the high street. Save the high street. Fix the high street. Fix the high street. This asset is because no, it's not, because we are trying to secure an asset for the high street.
One at a time,
And that
please.
asset is of an importance to this high street. We spend more money on a piece of play equipment that, yes, is necessary, but this car park is necessary to the town and to its high street and to its businesses.
Councillor Wesley.
No, thank you.
Do you want to respond to that?
Do you want to respond, Mark? To me, that was a nonsensical answer. And if you're talking about the high street, why aren't you interested in like Edenside, wherever Star Park? Why didn't you consult the businesses if you're interested in the high street?
Public consultation.
Why didn't you consult the public? Why didn't you talk through all the options?
Councillor Taylor, didn't you actually go to every business on the high street and speak to them? Thank you.
Councillor Allen.
Just one thing, 24 minutes ago, posted by Norfolk Live. Brecon Council plans near maximum council tax increase amid funding pressures. So we're buying these cars today, just now. So we're giving them money. That's what we're doing here. Brecon want our money. That's what this is.
And is there Brecon District Council? Is there
No.
Yes.
Can I just suggest, because I feel like this is very childish. And if members are going to speak over other members, so that actually, what is the point in having a debate if you're not going to hear the debate because people are speaking over each other? Can I just propose that we move to a vote, please?
No,
because actually,
we're still talking.
This has already been drawn out long enough. It's actually embarrassing how long it's been drawn out and the desperation and depths that people are going to. But this is a narrative and it's an agenda. This isn't a decision that is being made in the interest of the community.
Yes, Susan.
Thank you. I'm just going back to my notes from the 6th of October, and I made quite comprehensive notes about this on the car park. I'm right to just read them. So quite comprehensive. Brecon car park, 186 spaces. Estimated costs, the 3 car parks was 33,550. Yeah, it's got estimated costs. I don't know if anyone else made that note. But there was nothing about EV chargers or anything like that. And I did make quite comprehensive notes on that. Business rates were 10,155 costs, no profit on car parks by Brecon District Council. 30 car parks in Brecon, which cost over £500,000. If anyone would like to add anything to that?
Councils aren't allowed to make profits on car parks. That's why there would be zero.
But my point was there was nothing mentioned about EV charging or any of the costs.
Nothing in the minute. Got them in front of me.
I would just go back to the point that I previously just made, that really, there's an EV charging point there. you
That's
know
the cost,
that there's
isn't it?
light in there. It doesn't matter what the cost is. If the cost is
Disagree.
£1 or £100 million, it really doesn't matter.
But we have to
Because
scrutinise our finances.
once the town council takes ownership of that asset, it is then at the town council's discretion whether or not they keep those, remove those, or what they do with them, and what budget they set for that maintenance if they keep them. So really, as I said, Breckland Council's cost is not indicative in any way, shape or form of what the town council's cost and liability would be. Because as the new owner, it would be for us to manage that asset to our own budget, not to the budget that Breckland currently have. But the thing that everyone seems to be missing, being hung up on the cost, once the commuted sum is returned, which there is legal processes to secure that commuted sum, once that commuted sum is returned, it costs £44,000. That cost is significantly less than what we spend on play areas. Actually, our monthly expenditure is about that. That's like a month's expenditure for us. That is not a huge amount of money in the scheme of things when you compare it to other things. And the fact is, while there may well be another option to take it for free, this is time sensitive. And if the hammer comes down and this is not completed, we risk losing that asset. So the question for you is not, do you want to save £44,000? It's not, do you want to sit here and make a big scene? This is literally it. This is the bottom line. And that bottom line is, do you want to risk losing that asset
Can I just
completely?
come back onto that now?
Do you want to risk losing that asset completely?
Thank you. In answer to that, obviously, some good points, but I do disagree with the fact that costs are an issue. We are responsible for the taxpayers' money, and to say that costs aren't an issue, I think is quite irresponsible.
Yeah.
Councillor Allen.
Thank you. I am a risk taker. I think we can get it for free. I think Breckland will not want to deprive our high street of that main car park. So if we vote to take it for free with a comprehensive business plan, and that is what we should do, and let Breckland decide whether we keep that car park or not. Will they really take that away from us? I know they're strapped for cash, that's why they want us to buy it. But this is to get all the options back onto the table for a further vote. That's all this is. If the council then decides to vote again for option 4, so be it. This is just to get it back on the table.
Councillor Taylor.
NCB could come along and pay very good money for that car park, and they'd be charging £3 an hour. Not what we charge. What we charge, 50p.
Well,
NCP would be there to make money.
not necessarily.
Oh, NCP, they'll take
Well,
it
we've
back.
got the chance to get it for free.
You're not going to get it for free. There's going to be association.
Councillor Dalton.
Okay, going back over my notes, which are just as comprehensive. April 2025, running costs and overheads, gritting, etc. And it was also mentioned about utilities. The overall price per 186, 3 car parks, 186 car parking spaces was 35,553. And that was to cover all of that. That was 3 car parks, not 1. So you would have to pro-rata the number of places across that. That was the running costs, that was what was decided. My notes are just as comprehensive.
I don't think it's a competition on whose notes are most comprehensive.
It's the amount of people who obviously have to.
Yeah.
Councillor Burrows.
Other councils, other town councils have gone for the free option. They've delivered the paperwork that was necessary. Surely wouldn't it be beyond comprehension for us to contact them to see what they did, so we got it for free? That must seem, we did suggest that before, but nothing seems to have been done. So maybe that's a good way forward, to contact the other council who took them on for free, to make sure we follow the right procedures and do everything right and get them for free. Because there is no guarantee we will get this 100,000 back.
What would be
a
better idea was, if you wanted to explore that, to actually, rather than overturn the decision, do that while the current decision is in place. You could still, without overturning it, you could go and find that information. But the fact is, Thetford have commissioned, I think it was Thetford, so correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Thetford, commissioned a contractor from Wales to produce that report for them. That consultant that undertook that piece of work would have been paid. The consultation is going to cost money, unless you run it in-house, it obviously still would have an associated cost. But the fact is, even what you're proposing has a financial spend. So what are you going to spend? £5 on a consultant, £5 on
I'm not spending anything.
So that's £10,000 saved for the sake of it. Yeah. But the fact is, these things are going to cost money, so you might as well just spend the 44,000 and have no risk.
Excuse me, but the 44,000 isn't guaranteed, because the community zone isn't guaranteed to come back. It's going to be built on, which you said earlier.
Councillor Adams is first, I think.
It's an illegal agreement.
I know.
Councillor Adams.
Can I just ask one question here? As we've already overspent our current budget, where are we going to get this 145 from anyway?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking the general reserves. We can't spend the car park reserves that we've got because that's for Queen Square. Sorry, I'll negate that. I was thinking that we would take it out of general reserves, of which we have 539,000. And on top of that, if you did go with this option 4, you take that money out of general reserves, you can actually replace that with the income that comes back once you've saved your money for maintenance. So you effectively are not just taking it, spending it, and you never get anything back for it. If you're then allowed to charge, if you look at the figures that were given in the car park consultation, there was a sort of like a figure that gave a figure on the year 1 was something like you would get 41,000 back from that, 41,649 with a 40% displacement. In year 2 you would get 60,761 because they've already engaged a consultant to explore based on the charges that Brecon were going to charge. So you might be able to get that money back, in which case you could then transfer that back into general reserves.
So the obvious question now is, how much were they going to charge?
Well, if they base those figures on the charging schedule that was set out, which I believe was first hour free, second hour 60p, I can't remember what the third hour, and £3 for 10 hours parking.
Something akin to what's charged in Wyndham.
Yeah.
Right.
So that figure that I've just quoted you was based on that model, if you like.
Okay.
Obviously, you could go, obviously you could spend all day saying, well, on this model, you'll probably attract that. You don't know how many people are going to park, but obviously, if you have cheaper car parking tariffs, you will attract more parkers and also you would, the people who use that car park would be the only people paying for that maintenance. If you get it for free and then you aren't able to charge because the justification has failed, then the whole town would have to pay for the maintenance of that car park, which is quite unfair to people who don't use the car park. So I was just thinking, that was what I was thinking we should do.
Councillor Bircham.
Yeah, we can't use time as a reason to push this through. Back in November, myself and 6 other colleagues, followed our own standing orders to revisit this item, and it was refused. So time is nothing to do with it.
Councillor.
Just quickly, Councillor Taylor, you said that we should have been working on option 2, have this in the background, and then say we'll go with option 4, but we've got option 2 ready as well. Is that correct? So
No.
what you're saying is we'll take the car park. Hello, Brecon. We'll take this car park for free, or we'll give you 145 grand for it. What are they going to say? They're going to say, "Oh no, pay us."
That's what Durham done.
Yeah,
That's what Durham Town Council
yeah, and
done.
that's ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Desperate for money.
Desperate for money.
Anybody else? Councillor Schubert.
I I think Councillor Bircham sent you an email back in December about the new information. I don't know if you mentioned it today. The mayor elections being postponed for 2 years, and you said you get back to him about a legal matter on that. That obviously negates Councillor Jay Taylor's suggestion that the council car parks preventing their transfer to national operators no longer applies.
Yeah. I did actually query that, and I thought I had replied to you, but I'm not wrong. Let me find that.
The thread is long.
Sharon, while you're looking and checking that, can you just see if it was only the mayoral elections and not LGR? Because the mayor and local government organisation are two completely different things. So the mayoral election being postponed is
I did get, from memory, the officer who replied to me said that although the mayoral elections will be postponed, that isn't going to affect the timeline on this local government reorganisation. I'll just try and round
Thank you. I note there was some objection to actually asking Councillor Southern what those timeframes look like and whether or not there is time to reverse the decision, run a consultation, then come back, analyse that data and make a further decision, because that timeline isn't yours to make. That timeline actually, as far as I'm concerned, is unknown, which is where the risk element comes in. So I don't know if, you know, you don't want to believe me, maybe we could ask Sarah, actually, is there a risk in what members are doing this evening? Now, I don't know why members that want to have informed debate would stifle that, why they would be opposed to having that kind of information provided to be able to take into consideration on such an important decision. But I think it would be prudent to understand.
I'll say exactly why I don't want to discuss it tonight is because we're not discussing the options tonight, we're discussing overturning the decision for further debate at the next meeting or an EGM. That is when we can hear from other councillors and other authorities. Tonight, this is about revisiting all of the options. Not choosing other options. We're not doing that tonight. That's not on the agenda, Councillor Taylor.
But what I'm saying is, do you have, that's the question, do we have time to do that?
I believe so, yes.
You're not in the know.
Are you?
Sarah is. Sarah is.
Are you? You're also a Wrexham councillor. You should be in the know too.
I am, that's what I'm telling you.
Dale.
That's why I'm
So you
telling
do
you
have
there is a
time.
risk.
You do have the unknown
Yes.
timeline.
No, I know there's a risk.
I
know
also
that.
know there's a risk. I know there's a risk. I'm happy to take that risk.
Councillor Dale.
I did, but forget it.
Councillor Dalton.
If they want a decision to overturn what the decision was previously, then the information they require to make that decision to overturn it is in this room.
Well, no, it's the lack of information. Last time, no, because the decision's been made.
I'm sorry, in this respect, it's a case of we made a decision, I put forward a decision that we then all voted on and got it. Because you didn't come prepared to that meeting with your information, means that you then failed to put forward any arguments. So you're blaming everybody else.
Why buy a car park when you get it for free?
Who says we're getting it for free?
Back then, that was one of the options.
Yeah.
Why would you want to
Potential
spend the money?
options.
But why would you want to spend the money when the option was there, black and white?
We didn't even try to get it for free.
It was there, black and white, one of the options.
But also,
so why did you not put it forward at the meeting?
Why did you propose to pay?
Councillor Bolton, why don't you propose to pay rather than discuss all of the options
and
one
take the option
by one?
If you've read some of the local government information and national government, it can all go back to the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State can overturn it.
Well, you're here 'cause
Whereas
it's
if
your
we're
decision.
offering money for something, for a said asset, at least we've got almost a guarantee of getting that asset.
Can I just
So why didn't you
interject?
try to
Can
take
I-
the business plan if you're
Can I just interject? Can people put their
That is
hand
for the
up,
council to
please, to
decide.
be able to speak, and then the chairman will allow you to speak.
Councillor Dales next.
What I was going to say was when it was free before, when there was no restrictions at all, it was used as a 24/7 car park for people, anybody. People parked their cars there and went on holiday. They parked their cars and went into Norwich, you know, to work. So they did the shopping in Norwich, so the shops weren't benefiting, and there wasn't a natural churn. So the car park was getting full, but there was nobody around in town. So that was my concern, that the churn won't be there.
But that's what the business plan is for, the business plan that we're lacking. But we can put a business plan together and go for option 2 and get it for free and have these measures in place to stop that happening. But we haven't done that. We haven't even got a business plan for spending 145 grand.
Won't be spending that.
Well, we are to start. We are to start.
Councillor Susan.
Thank you. I think we've already had more discussion tonight about the car park than we did when the original vote was made, and that's actually really good. Regardless of whether we agree or disagree, it's actually better than when we originally voted. So it does show that, you know, talking does actually have some results, but we need to get to the right result.
Yeah,
Councillor Middlebrook.
Right, I know by looking around this room, there isn't people aren't in favour of allowing Councillor Sugget to speak at this meeting. However, other local authorities have put a 2 option suggestion to the local authority. I have never changed my view on this. My view all along was that we should take the option where we can take it for free. At the meeting I suggested we might need to put a report forward and pay for it if necessary. Other authorities have done a 2 option where they propose to take it for free with the option to charge if they thought necessary in the future. But as a backup, they have done the 2-tier thing where if the report is not accepted, and that goes across all the local authorities, that they would then fall back on paying for it to ensure they had it.
Durham have done that.
Yeah, and I think Thetford has done it as well. My only question, and it doesn't change my view, is that, and only the Brecon councillor can answer that, is if this council was to overturn this and come back with a suggestion, or would Brecon allow us to amend our current proposal to go to a 2-tier option, say that we would prefer to go with option 2 and a backup. So in other words, we put that back in as an option to Brecon. Now, councillors may be totally opposed to that, and they may not allow the councillor to speak. But at least we would know if Brecon would allow that as an option, even at this late stage. I have not changed my view. I totally believe we should try and get it for free, which is what I said and have said all along. I agree with your point. I agree with your notion that the time sensitive, that 3 months ago, or 3 meetings ago, whichever it was, we could have been having that conversation. We've now pushed it on another 3 months. The only option, potentially, to have that back is to ask the councillor, Sarah Sugget, if Brecon would allow a further option to be put to them. But if councillors don't want to have that debate or ask that question, then fine, I will stick with my original view that has never changed since this was put forward.
I'll put my penny's worth in. I think that's the most sensible thing that's been said all night. Can I ask that we vote on asking Councillor Sugget to speak, please, and answer the question that Councillor Middlebrook has raised? All those in favour, please.
I would like to hear something from that, so yeah.
All those against?
Any against? None against?
Okay, can I open the floor up to Councillor Suggett then, please.
Hi.
But can we limit it to the question?
To that question, yeah.
That question?
Yes, please, yeah.
So, in answer to that question, the reason that we gave the 7th of November in the first instance, what you've already decided upon, is because we do not know what the time frame is, and we just felt it prudent with the amount of work. There's 5 market towns to consider with all of this. That gave us ample time to work with the town councils with whatever option it was, which came forward. Like's been alluded to this evening, we're now a couple of months into that, and all of the towns that had agreed to take on car parks have received heads of terms. What I'm happy to do is to, depending on what it is that you decide to do this evening, is to speak with officers. If you come to us and ask for another option for yourselves to be considered, we can pause the work which is being done on your heads of terms, which we're waiting for you guys to come back to us with in any case, but I'm happy for us to pause that piece of work and for you to come back if it is the other option to get them for free, so with that evidence, and then we can consider the evidence. It is at risk though, and what's been alluded to, because we do not know what this time frame is, if we haven't got things which are secured when the local government reorganisation hammer comes down, for want of a better phrase, and we haven't got them locked in, it is not as the district, it is not our decision as to whether or not we allow the towns to take on the car parks. That decision is taken out of our hands, so it is at risk to you guys, but I am happy to work with our officers who are dealing with yourselves and the clerk as to where you're at that process, to pause with where we're at, wait for you to come up with the evidence and the information. You don't have to have consultants to do that evidence work for you. You can do it yourselves. Our officers can help nudge you in the right direction. The other towns can help you with that evidence. But I am happy to have that conversation, to pause where we're at until you come up with some more information.
Okay. Councillor Middlebrook.
Can I ask, obviously other councils have made their submissions to you, including ones to take the car parks for free. They must therefore have done their report. How have you and your councillors found that submission? Is it something that's tied in favour with you or not?
So we would like to see the car parks in the possession of the towns. That is what we think is the right thing to do. It is not our intention to have any money from you for them, but that was an option which was given because it was a raft of options after we taken legal advice that we had to give to you. So the 3 towns that have taken on the option to take them on for free and who have given evidence, they've all gone about it in quite different ways. We've got 3 quite different sets of information. In a way, it just proves how different all our market towns are on what the different offers, challenges, opportunities are across those towns, but we are still working through them, and our officers are working with the clerks to provide some feedback to try and get them into a good space so that we can look favourably.
So therefore, in theory, you are working with those councils to allow them to take the car parks for free?
We are working with them as best as we can with the information that they're given. It is a legal requirement, a legal document, so we're working within the best what we can, but we appreciate that this is a massive undertaking for all of the towns. So our officers are working as hard as possible with all of the clerks to ensure that if the towns would like to do so, we work with you to take the car parks on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is that free?
Anybody else got any questions for Councillor Suggett? Councillor Taylor.
I have just...
Oh, sorry, Councillor.
When we talk about LGR and the hammer coming down, that isn't the day that the election goes ahead for LGR. That is when central government frees the district council and county council's assets. That could be 12 months before LGR, that could be 18 months, it could be next week, it could be a year away. Nobody knows that. So that hammer, we just need to bear in mind, and I wanted that clarification. It isn't the day it kicks in, assets will be frozen. But also, is there a guarantee that the towns that have asked for them to be free will actually receive them for free?
We're working as hard as we can to ensure that the evidence which has been provided means that can happen. But this isn't something which, as a lot of the towns, the district, it's a real grey area when it comes to what best value is. There's nothing quite definitive. There's never been any challenge working hard with all of the towns. But like I've said, they've all been quite different, the proposals which have come forward. The option that you've taken to purchase it is by far the easiest, the quickest, and it gives the towns the most amount of control because there will be no restrictions within that. Some of those towns which have chosen to take it for free, there will be some restrictions within that because that's the legal test that has to be met. But until you go down that route and we start to look, your car parks are quite different to Deptford car parks, which are quite different to the Deerham car parks. So all of the heads of terms which have so far come out are slightly different because they are quite unique. You happen to have a car park which has got EV charging points. If you choose not to want to take those EV charging points on, that's something which as the district we will say fine, fair dues, we will remove those from heads of terms. If you want to keep them, that is something which we are willing to do, just because we are willing to work as best as we can with all of you to ensure that we do the right thing for the towns.
Councillor Taylor first, please.
Yeah, so what I'm taking from what you're saying, Sarah, is that there's actually no need to overturn the decision. What we could do is actually take a secondary decision to start implementing a view to take it as option 2. And then if we fail in that, we still have the fallback that we currently have, but hopefully option 2 could then work, and if it does, we could then acquire under those agreements, and you would support, not you personally, but yourself, Bretland, and our officers, your officers, could help the clerk in producing that report. But if it fell short of the legal test, which is a risk, if it did fall short, we would still have option 4 to fall back on, which is what Deerham done.
Yeah, so I'm happy to take back to officers. If you would like to pursue another option, I'm happy to ask officers to pause where you're currently at, so you don't lose the work which has already been done. Somebody alluded to taxpayers' money a moment ago. Obviously, as the local authority, we're going into taxpayers' money by getting legal documents drawn up which have gone out. So if it's beneficial to do so, we're happy to pause where we're at with your current heads of terms, allow you the time to come back to us if there is another option, which is that you would like to pursue. The risk is, if, like's been mentioned, that hammer comes down in the meantime and those heads of terms aren't signed and agreed, that decision's taken out of our hands as to the transfer of those car parks. You know, that will be frozen at that moment in time. So the risk is still there, but I'm happy to pause that work whilst you come up with another option, if that is what you would wish to do so.
How much notice is there likely to be given of when the hammer comes down?
We just don't know. There is nothing.
I mean, government decides it's in 3 months' time. Do you get 3 months?
Ballpark figure, rough estimate.
We genuinely don't know. At the moment, the government are out for consultation on local government reorganisation. They could, as soon as that consultation finished, the next day say, right, that's it, this is going to happen, and away you go. We genuinely don't know when that's going to be. There's been lots of murmurs of different time frames and different dates, but nothing has been confirmed to come out to us. It's frustrating for us. I get it's frustrating for you guys, but it is equally frustrating for us.
Can I please make a proposal? And that proposal is that we do not overturn the decision, but that we do have an EGM next week to make a decision, or with a view to make a decision, to also explore option 2.
Can I make a separate proposal?
Can I make a separate proposal? I would propose that we do accept the motion to reverse the decision, and then in a week's time we start the process. It's only a week, considering how much time has gone by. At that meeting, we then consider putting a 2-track application in. It's only a week. The council will know what actions we intend to take, and can pause any further work and therefore any further costs. So that's how I would propose. It's slightly different to Councillor Taylor's proposal, but I think we should draw a line under it as it stands and readdress it with both options. It allows, at least as Councillor Taylor has said we have some certainty at the end of it, but it still gives us the opportunity to get it for free. Breckland would not have given us that option if they were going to just refuse it anyway, in my view. So it's something we should pursue.
You took the words from my mouth, Councillor.
Councillor, I second that proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just ask the clerk which proposal has to be considered first?
The second one.
Second one.
And it's been seconded.
Yeah. Have you got? Yeah.
So can I just check for clarity, the only difference in the two proposals is that you're going to withdraw option 4 tonight, but put it back forward next week with option 2 as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So option 4 is still going to, so the decision that's made is still going to be made, just with option 2 as well?
So we can
Which is exactly
option 2 as the main option, and option 4 as backup, which has been seconded. Can it go to a vote, please?
And that would still hold the work that's been done on option 2. That would still hold where we've got to on option 4 if we went down that route.
If you decide this evening that you're going to withdraw your option, you've withdrawn that option. So if, I get it's a big if, but if in the next week we get told we've got to stop, and if next week you come back with option 2 being your preferred option, your clock starts again, if you like, from whenever it is you start that next piece of work. So the last couple of months that we've been working on getting the heads of terms and everything together, you will go to the back of the queue, if you like, with whereabouts is. Or we could pause whereabouts you're at. You come to us next week with your second option, which might be your preferred one, but at least you've already got one in the bag.
Yes.
That's right.
No,
It's already been
it's been proposed and seconded, so it must go to a vote.
Okay, we'll go for the vote. But I just wanted to clarify that point.
To overturn it, reverse it, withdraw it completely, and take a risk for a week, only a week, and next week put it back on the table.
Yes.
That is what has been proposed.
I think it's a couple of questions.
We've got the same outcome, just mine.
No, we want to withdraw option 4.
Right. All those in favour then, please.
Can I just
Which
say,
one?
I still have that concern about known information. I'm going to minute that, obviously.
Okay. We'll have a recorded vote as well.
All those in favour then.
What are we waiting for, sorry?
So
For Tony Middlebrooks. Councillor Middlebrooks.
4, so we've got 8, 10. Okay. 7.
All those against.
Oh, against. Right.
Do we need a
7.
recount again?
That's a draw. So, Jeremy.
Just the vote. Great.
Well, you voted, so you
7
voted.
each.
I personally speaking, I'm concerned that we'd lose option 4. I think we achieved the same goal.
We won't lose option 4.
We could
It's only
do.
on the table for a week. You've got a week.
It's been voted on.
Yes, it has.
Can we check recount the votes? Is that right?
We'll have a recount of votes.
I had 4, Anthony Middlebrook, Don Sousa, Jacob Allen, Malcolm Burrows, Daniel Birchall, Mark Boardman and Anthony Adams. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then against I had John Taylor, Sam Taylor, Taylor Taylor, Steve Fraser, Jerry, Gerard Dalton, Anthony Westby. Because we've got 14 here, so it will be 7, 7, and Vera, sorry.
If I may,
We'll just move on.
it is literally, well, it's now obviously my proposal that will be heard because that vote has failed. But the fact is, the outcome is the same. It is that next week we will have an EGM. We will, at that EGM, put forward a motion with a view to having option 2 as the preferred option and option 4 as the fallback. The only difference in what Councillor Middlebrook was proposing and what I'm proposing is that in that interim period we still have a fallback that should the hammer come down, you know, in the next week there is still a safeguard. That is the only difference. The outcome is the same.
Councillor Middlebrook.
Chair, have you cast your vote in respect of the 7-7?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
So you have voted?
For?
Yeah.
You voted against my
Against,
motion?
against,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. In that case, I would welcome Councillor Taylor's proposal that we have an EGM next Monday.
Yep.
And we bring back the option 4 to add it into our proposal to be put to Breckland Council.
Option
So
2.
Sorry,
You're seconding
Yes.
that.
There's a subtle difference. Your proposal was to cut both off.
Yes.
And start again.
Which is passed.
Whereas Councillor Taylor's proposal is to keep option 4 running and then bring option 2 in.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, and I think it achieves the same result.
Yeah.
But we've got the safety net.
Well, as long as
we've got the safety net that in the very unlikely event that the hammer comes down over the next week, we've still got option 4.
I mean, that motion was lost. So if we have an opportunity to bring back as an option for this council to have the possibility of not paying for the car park, we should take it. Even if it means the one on the table stays there, because it's now that motion's been lost. So let's go. So let's draw a line under that. Whether we were happy with it or not, the motion's been done, it's been carried, the mayor's vote counts. We now vote on Councillor Taylor's proposal of an EGM next week to bring the option back.
Option 2 in. And for the record, I believe option 2 is the best option.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second it. All those in favour? Thank you.
I think that was
Unanimous.
unanimous.
Unanimous, Sharon.
Yeah, okay.
You get many of those?
That's a surprise.
Finally.
Yeah.
Moving on to item 7, that's deferred.
Yes.
Item 8, financial documents. 1, to authorise general payments for acceptance and resolution. Any comments?
Yeah, can I just ask why we spent £517 on the extra lights? We already marginalised the Christmas committee, current committee, and now we've used taxpayers' money to spend on it.
The 500 that was spent.
Yeah.
That when we get the figures all input, you'll see that there was an intention to make money as well from the Christmas presents, the hot chocolate stall, etc. So there wasn't an intention just to spend money. There was an intention to obviously receive that, and I think that I can't say, you know, but they did have a valiant effort to sort of like get most of that money back.
Okay. Secondly, there's a couple of payments for tree work for Neil Thomas. Obviously, where's the quotes and invoices for that? Obviously, that didn't come to full council.
They're emergency works because they're part of the tree inspection report, so they were directed actions that we had to take for the high risk items, which were mostly mature trees, and that was their day rate.
Okay, and lastly, obviously, it's been brought to the table ample times about the Attleborough SME Business Awards. How come we're still paying them or spending money on them? 179 admin fee.
That's the balance of the 1,000, which was passed over because we only spent the, you know, whatever it was, 821. So we owed them 179.
So everything spent to date is including that £1,000 that was agreed on 7th April last year.
Yeah.
Councillor.
Can I just come in? I have queried queried Neil Thomas's charging because it's nearly always exactly the same. And I have queried it, and the clerk says that's his day rate, but I want to know how long. I'd rather have it individually houred, because it might be a quick job, it might be a long job, and that way we have no control. He's going to love me, but I don't care. It's nearly £500, £500, but we've got one 600, this 5 and a 6, so that's over £1,000 we've paid in this month.
I mean, doing works to trees, especially the mature ones, they do take two men at least. And I just recall that when we had, it was ever such a semi-mature tree when I first became a clerk, and I got quoted £900 to just chop that tree down. And I thought that was way too much, but I think we ended up spending about 500 with the cheapest quote on that semi-mature tree.
Is that just inspection and tree works?
No, the inspection was done by a separate company, and we are now working through obviously the most priority actions from that tree inspection. So everything that we've asked them to do.
So this day rate, is that for the inspection or is that for work?
No, that is for, he comes to look at what needs doing and looks at the tree inspection report and then tells me what it's going to cost. So it's classed as emergency because...
If I can, if that helps, Councillor Middlebrook, the reason we set it in motion that we have one company come and do the inspection and another tree company come and do the work was so the person producing the inspection couldn't bump the work that needed doing.
And having a
knowing that they would get the
I mean,
contract
having the
to do
same
the work.
consultant come back, at least he knows the trees and he can know that what's happened to the tree in between one inspection and another. So I totally
So
agree
the
with that.
person that does the inspection is generally the same company all the time. The person that does the work is generally the same company. But the reason it wasn't the same company doing the work and the inspection was to cut down on inflated workloads.
I've always worked that way anyway, so I've never had an inspection and then the work done by the same.
Okay.
All right then.
All those in favour? All okay with the proposal? Second, Councillor Dalton. All those in favour?
Is that all? Yeah, majority. So against, are you against it then? Because we haven't actually said whether you're abstaining. Are you abstaining, Mark?
Yes.
And you are too.
And I'm abstaining as well.
Yeah. Can I ask why you're abstaining?
That's okay.
Can I ask?
I mean, do you need to know?
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, because you abstain quite a lot on payments.
That's okay. No, we can provide evidence at some point if you want. No, just abstain. Yeah, not necessary. No, it's not necessary to explain one.
Right, item 8.2 to authorise January direct debits. Any comments or proposed, please? Councillor Dalton proposed, seconder, please. Councillor Taylor, Jane Taylor. All those in favour?
Majority. To ask for abstentions or against.
Anybody abstaining or disagreeing?
I haven't had a copy, so I'm going to abstain.
Okay, no comment. Councillor Adams, what was your...
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining, right, okay.
Anyone else abstaining?
Just the two.
But did you put your hand out, Jacob and Dan?
Yeah, in favour. Yeah.
Item 8.3, income and expenditure for information for December 2025. Any comments? Nope. Okay, moving on. Income for 2025 for information, item 8.4. Any comments? No. And petty cash, item 8.5. Any comments? No. Okay, thank you. Moving on.
Sorry, while we're on finance, have we got that finance course book? Because obviously we need it to, to get everything the same hymn sheet, as it were.
I've written to them, I haven't had I think I only just wrote to them just before we broke up for Christmas.
Right.
Can you chip them up,
Yeah,
please?
Yeah.
I think it's quite important.
Trying so we can all understand them.
Because wasn't it at the GP&F that you then decided that you wanted, or the GP&F decided that they wanted to opt for the more extensive training?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
yeah, please.
Yeah, okay.
Item 9, policies. Draft motion proposing amendments to shop frontage grant policy, inclusion of CCTV installation support, for consideration and resolution.
That's been withdrawn.
That was withdrawn, wasn't it? Yeah. The social media and electronic communications policy, for consideration and resolution. Any comments?
I just wanted to say that we don't have a Twitter account, so I was going to delete that.
Yeah.
And also, as was mentioned in the public participation, taking off the CEO.
Yeah.
We've already
also,
talked about that, haven't we, Shannon?
And it says the town council email, that was incorrect, so I will correct that. And town council cyber insurers, that must be something dating back to 2016, and I'm not aware that we have a town council cyber insurer, so I kind of think that's, I think we should delete that because...
That would come under the normal insurance policy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Councillor
I know I probably didn't get the opportunity to say at the time, but you've just said that the draft motion for the CCTV has been withdrawn. Can I make the same comment as I did last time? If it comes back, which is when I said where is the town centre, it says again as per the map. If it says as per the map, can there be a map attached to it, please? That's all.
Yep, no comment. Can we propose then for the social media policy? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Dodds, second. All those in favour?
What's the proposal, sorry?
To accept item 9.
The amendments that I've mentioned. Nobody else has said that they want
Twitter off and...
take Twitter off CEO and also delete those paragraphs related to the town council cyber insurance.
All those in favour? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Item 10, committee terms of reference to consider recommendations and amendments to planning and highways, open spaces and GP&F committees. Any comments? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, this is just a recommendation that was put forward by the Standing Order Review Committee. It's just to reflect the spending limits that are already contained in the financial regulations, just so that the two documents both make reference for ease of reading. So I'd like to propose acceptance, please.
Councillor D'Souza, second. All those in favour?
Majority.
Yep. Three against.
Any against? Any abstentions?
3 abstentions. 4.
Hands out.
Should we wait for him to come back? Jacob, in terms of reference, we've got 3 councillors abstaining to that. Do you want to abstain or are you for?
Okay, apologies.
Social media policy.
Okay.
Not social media.
No, reference.
Sorry,
Oh yeah, no, but I'm staying, thank you.
Yeah.
item 10, yeah.
Apologies.
So that's 4 abstentions.
I thought it'd be better before we did it.
But that has been carried.
Item 11, events for consideration and resolution. The Rogues Fair to set a budget and delegate the selection of a shopping list to the working group. Councillor Middlebrook. Oh, Councillor Dale.
No, I was going to say.
No, you can have your say in a minute, I promise. The Rogues Fair is the 80-year anniversary of signing of the market charter.
800.
800, sorry.
You
What's
were
the
young
age?
then.
800, yeah. It's my age, all right then, Miss Mick. I'll take it. And we want to put something on really that will set the town really on the map for the right reasons, for something that's really going to be very presentable, very enjoyable, I hope, and bringing in lots of people, very visual, a lot going on, nights, archery, tents, the circular tents on the green. But of course, it's going to cost money. So, well, I didn't go through it all. My friend here went through it all. And because Queen Elizabeth is £600. The archery is £1,200, but it's free to do. And it is all insured and under fully, under fully qualified trainers. You know, so everything is done. His insurance has all come in and everything. And he does these events, and very lively man, but lots of ideas, and we can do a shopping list. You know, we don't have to have everything. We can actually pick out a shopping list if we haven't got the money to do it all. There's a meeting on Saturday morning.
Easy
and
target.
It's good job, I like it. 10 o'clock till 12, but that we would like as many people, interested people to come along, give us their ideas, you know, and help organise. We'll need a steering party, and there'll be a lot of work involved. That's before your meeting, which is, I'll give you a plug, 1 till 3.
Well, it's not necessarily my meeting.
No,
it's
but
one that
Linear Park, not Linear Park, the Jubilee Wood.
Jubilee Wood.
Jubilee Woodlands.
Do I put my hand up again?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Right. Well, I think it's going to be an absolutely wonderful thing for the town. We need to set a budget. Now, I sat one Sunday afternoon for 6.5 hours while we had a cinema screen in the middle of the wreck. Other councillors sat for 6 hours on the Saturday. Probably there was a total of maybe 50 or 60 people that came to that event. And unless I've misread the budget, that cost us £6,000. My view is that we start with something that is going to put this town on the map by doubling that. That is my personal view. Not only, that is what I would ask for the council to contribute. There is also opportunities for, say, the stocks being held in the town square. Well, that could be sponsored by one of the local businesses in the town, as long as sort of one of my fellow councillors offers to put their head in it, you know. But also there are businesses, there are also, as I say, you've got the Carnival Committee, you've got the Lights Committee, any of those potentially to make, not massive donations, but small donations to something that's going to be so big for this town. But certainly my view is that I would like to propose that this council, if it's got that much reserves of whatever, sorry Sharon, I can't remember what you said, but to start as an absolute minimum of doubling what we spent. And if anybody would like to do an auction and outbid me, then please do.
Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Councillor Westy. I wholeheartedly support everything that you've said. I think that last year the cinema event was an epic failure. £6,000 is a lot of money in that respect for something that doesn't work. This will inevitably work. The effort that's already been put in by some of the councillors and the clerk, I think that there is scope here to deliver something that is really, really good for the town. Yep. I think more so than asking the Funfest team and the Carnival Committee to contribute financially, contribute their time, their expertise.
Not financially.
It was just any opportunity to get.
And I think that actually £12,000 for this scale of event, for everything that's been listed here, it's 800 years. That don't come around too often. And then the next big step.
The next one.
Everything on the list, unless you go and have 10 nights on horseback and you have, you know, 20 of this and 5 of those, it's going to cost just around £15,000, 14,800. So 12,000 will go a lot of the way, unless people have the view that, well, let's try and take everything on there that's open to us and put it at 15,000.
I think actually it would be better to ask for the 15 now than retrospectively come back for the sake of, do you know what I mean, £3,000. We give grants of £5,000 to clubs, groups and organisations. So, and that's 3 events rolled into one. Do you know what I mean? Effectively in that cost. So, if you would like to amend your proposal to 415,
Okay, I would like to amend my proposal that the council supports the roads fair to the tune of £15,000.
Councillor Taylor.
I'm not changing the proposal because I think it's amazing. I would just say though, I was speaking with a representative from the church this weekend and they are very interested in being involved.
Yeah, no, I've already seen them, that's why. I've already been there and
oh well, no, this one I'd only just heard of it, so you've probably spoke to the office.
I spoke to Michael, Matthew and Pat.
Yeah, I spoke to David. Yeah, he was like chomping at the bit.
No,
so
I didn't
did
speak
say
to him.
something.
Yeah. We've even got the archery marked out.
I just want to say that I sent a very large email with so many groups and organisations for everyone that I could think of, and including all the businesses as well that are on the directory. So I've invited all of those groups, scouts, etc., and also including the church, and also including the Christmas Carnival, the Summer Carnival, and they have already been invited.
Spoken to all those.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to second Councillor Middlebrook's proposal. Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Well, I already have, but if you want to take it, Andy, I'll let you.
All right. Didn't realise you had.
No, it's okay.
Okay, all in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you, and I hope you're all going to work.
Definitely.
Oh, well, no.
Right, moving on to Larry Gray's Fun Fair, Recreation Ground, 8th of June, leaving on 14th of June. Any objections to that?
No.
No. Do we need to propose that?
I'm happy to propose authorisation.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favour? Thank you. Now, Attleborough Town Football Club, the Gamers Youth Tournament on the 11th and 12th of July. Any objections to that or proposer?
Provided they don't charge for car park, no objections.
Right. Councillor Taylor, Councillor D'Souza, second. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous again, yeah. Right, item 12, finance. Recommendation from the GP&F committee to approve the draft budget precept 2026 to 27 for consideration and resolution. We got a proposal for that? Or any comments? Seconder? You want to
Can
second?
you just remind us of what the budget is for that?
Yeah, budget is
What percentage increase?
4.825%, 4.8, say, 4.8%.
The budget is now then.
Sorry?
How much is the budget going to be from the GPN? How much?
No, this is the council budget for the whole council. It's a recommendation
We
for
don't
GPN.
give a budget to each group.
No, so the 4.8% of the total budget.
Yeah.
It's for your council tax.
Yeah, that's the increase that will come in from last year. Last year's precept rise from the previous year was 5.75%. This is lower than last year. So 4.8.
Councillor Adams.
Have we taken into account all the new houses that have been built in the last 12 months? There must have been a considerable number of them looking at the development in Carver's Lane, for example.
What about that? Because the tax base was given to us.
The increase in council tax we're going to receive, because obviously the numbers have increased.
We have to go by what figures Breckley give us, so they send a list out, which is here, the guidance for setting the parish town precepts, and to calculate the percentage is just a calculation from some of the figures as per last year. But to work out the divide by what the council tax charge would be, that figure, we have to go by 4,257. I don't know why they've got 0.5 for their half a house. That's a bit weird.
It's not finished yet.
I really can't tell you why. But then you work out how much it is per. And I think I put that in last month's clerk's report. I did actually explain that, and I don't think that's changed. So.
Did you have your hand up seconding the question?
Well, I wasn't going to actually, it was more of a statement. I just wanted to thank the clerk for how hard it goes into doing the precept each year. It's not an easy task, making everything balanced. But also the fact that it's come down is a good reflection of how we're progressing.
We've got a proposer? Councillor Donald. Councillor Taylor, second. All those in favour?
Yeah. Is that a majority?
Yep.
And we have how many abstentions?
4.
Abstentions.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to item 13, planning, which we're adding in because there's no planning committee meeting tonight. Application reference PL 2025-1829 F Min, change of use for units 8 and 9 in defined precinct from wine bar to occupational and wellbeing services units, principally a Pilates studio. Any objections or comments? Comments?
I've no problem with the change of use, which ultimately will prevent a building that was bar 33 just standing empty. But I do have a problem with the applicant undertaking the works internally, which are part of the application, without receiving planning permission. I mean, basically, the proposal is to take out what was there, which was bar 33, and put in new rooms, etc. Those rooms have already been constructed. So effectively, the application is in breach of plan.
Yeah.
Now, we're not to make the decision, but it's just a note to Bretland that...
yeah, I was just going to help you, Tony, there. And it may well seem like that. The application is for change of use, it's not for internal works. But so the internal works can go ahead, it's the change of use.
Well, the change of use includes various plans which are existing and proposed, of which don't reflect what was bar 33. It reflects the same drawing, just with instead of it said bar 33, it now says Turner's and Pilates Studio. So, in my view, the application is in respect of the drawings. I'm not objecting to the application in any way because it.
Maybe the drawing should have been included.
I just think that the drawing should be either not there, but if they are submitted as part of the application, they should be correct, and therefore, if the drawings are there, they shouldn't have done the work. I'm not objecting to it. I just think it should be noted to Bretland. That's all.
I know Councillor Taylor's saying that you can do whatever you want inside the building if it's not listed. But it's the change of use of the building, but
if the change of use refers to it reflected in a drawing, then that's my point. I'm just saying, I'm not objecting to it. It's just a matter of order, point of order, as I see it. That's all.
Shall we vote on them collectively?
Yes.
Right. The other one is application PL 2025 1168 FMIN, redevelopment of site to create EV charging hub on Blackthorn Road. Thank you.
I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Persistent, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. Third time. My view remains the same, and as far as I can see, the only change is there was a minor access arrangement change, and a pedestrian crossing being added. There is still a highway objection. It still fails the habitat training rules, and therefore trading rules, and therefore I have to purchase credits. The drainage is not resolved. Option one is to a highway pond on the other side of the road, which the highways say they don't have permission to do. The other one makes reference to an unidentified manhole, unknown type or invert level. So that's complete speculation. There are no facilities at all, no bins. As we've said before, if anybody comes in there, I very much doubt they're going to walk all the way up the town to have a wee. So, same problem there. There are
Light pollution things.
Yeah, well, all of those, loss of habitat, etc., etc. We have, and hopefully we will retain the EV charging in the town. There is charging on the A11. I wasn't in favour of this application in any way last time, and I've not changed my view. So I believe the council made a recommendation to Brecklin last time that we weren't in favour of it. I would hope we will do the same this time.
Yeah. I think we had a resident actually complain about the urination and litter that live nearby, so I think that's something we need to consider as well.
Yes, Adam.
Well, I'm just curious as to why we're actually looking at putting a charging point there anyway. I mean, obviously, if people in the town own electric cars, I assume they would have the charging points at their houses.
Not
So we're
necessarily.
obviously looking then at people coming down the A11 and using that charging point, because I can't see any other reason why it would be there. I'm mystified as to why we want it anyway.
There's a passing trade off the A11, but.
It's not a benefit at all.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. So we maintain objection on that.
I would certainly register an objection. If we need to vote on it, then
can we vote on agreement to the first one and objection to the second one then? Or
Not participate in that.
no, sure.
Yeah.
You propose?
I propose.
Second, Councillor
But
D'Souza.
just with the note that, in our view, the council Brecklin should note that, in my opinion, maybe not that of the council, that the work appears to have been done. Notwithstanding what the council said.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.
Oh, not unanimous.
Sorry.
Two
Two abstentions. Sorry. Right, item 14, councillors' reports. Anybody want to?
Went to Bunham Poultry's liaison meeting, which was very informative. The amount of money that's been spent down there and is being spent is phenomenal. I can't remember the thousands, millions. It was really a lot of money, and they are very keen to be good neighbours. They really are, and if you find anything, if you come across anything, let them know. They really do want to know if they're causing a upset in the town or uncomfortable. But it was a very interesting meeting. We haven't had the minutes yet, otherwise I could have given you all the figures properly. But they are trying desperately to be good neighbours. Right.
Just to follow on, I did actually make a request for those minutes.
Yes, I know you did.
And they said they'd send about in the next week or so. That was on the
8th of
December,
ages ago.
So
Yeah,
I will chase them.
Yeah.
Just following on from that, because I was also there at Councillor Dale. They actually said if there is an issue, especially of a weekend, if residents could go directly to them, not necessarily the Environment Agency or the Environmental Health, because they're actually on site, they can deal with it. Whereas if you go directly to Environmental Health or the Environment Agency, in the first instance, they don't work weekends, so that information doesn't get passed on until somebody's back in the office. By all means, still contact those two agencies, but in the first instance, contact them so they can address it as soon as possible. Was the suggestion that I actually thought was the most reasonable thing that came out of it, that they were willing to work 24/7, 7 days a week.
Anybody else?
Just the Environment Agency do work 7 days a week.
Yeah, but it gets to them quicker.
If they do work 7 days a week, having had experience when I was at Angling Water, they definitely do work 24/7.
I agree.
Okay. Item 15, Clerk's report.
Do the microphone because my voice is very low apparently. Sort of changed the way I do the report now, so I'm kind of doing it in the guise of actions from committee and full council meetings. So planning and highways to arrange a meeting with the highways engineer for a one-way system around Bestthorpe Road, Thieves Lane. The highway safety team has stated that they would not be supportive of this. So that would then be up to planning and highways as to whether they still want to pursue that. Gullies around Thieves Lane have been reported as needing flushing out, so the council wishes to actively seek a formal crossing at Rosecroft School. Highways have been contacted. The council needs to now send in further information on possible locations and what they require from the feasibility study in order to progress the application. The school crossing patrol officer at Norfolk Highways has been asked for a crossing patrol at Queen's Road Junction with Cypress Road. This is now being actively followed up by them. General Purposes and Finance Committee, I think it's already been mentioned about the Rogues Market meeting on Saturday the 10th of January, 10 till 12. This will be publicised. Public and groups are welcome to take part for ideas and for volunteering. This will be further reported at the next full council meeting. A road closure for the Makers Market is to be applied for in Queen Square area. Open Spaces Committee, there is to be a funding application to the Football Foundation to secure funding for equipment and pitch maintenance to help improve the quality of pitches at Gamers and Recreation Ground. The committee is due to progress groundworks and site improvements at London Road Play Area for a new gate, Gamers resurfacing and replanting fruit trees. The tree inspection report was double checked to ensure the trees have been inspected, and they were, although very low risk. Blackthorn Road, there will be a trim trail tender process and groundworks to entrances, which is also being progressed. Recreation Ground, start of works to investigate a new toilet block on Gamers. Not on Gamers, on Recreation Ground, I'll put that. Norfolk Drive, groundworks for a tarmac path to a picnic bench is also being progressed. Grosvenor allotments, quotes for a new gate are being sourced to prevent intruders to the site. Membership of the Allotment Association is being encouraged via an amendment to the tenancy agreement. Jubilee Woodland, the site visit has encouraged councillors and new volunteers. A new site visit will be arranged in mid-January. Individuals and groups are encouraged to get involved. There is to be a meeting on Saturday the 10th of January, and that will be from 1 p.m. onwards, again for residents and any interested groups to come along and give their views on how the country park and the woodland could be developed. The vehicular access to the site is to be checked to see whether Hill will confirm that there are no constraints to parking and access. I have sent an email through, but I haven't had a response, so we'll have to chase that this week. That's the report.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Moving on to item 16, public participation number 2. Yes, please.
I noticed we have a new councillor today. Did I miss the beginning where he had a welcome to the
No, I must apologise for that.
I think that was a bit disrespectful.
I must apologise for that. Yeah, it wasn't intentional. We had a chat and.
The public should know.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mark. I was kind of uncontested, even though me and 20 volunteers dropped off over 3,000 leaflets in the town. So yeah, I look forward to serving the town.
And my second question is, Councillor Adams' question was not answered as to why we have to put the full amount over to the car park and wait for 100,000 to be determined. Why do they need that in the first place? That was his question. We didn't have an answer.
No, we didn't expect it was that money.
I can't remember who asked him.
He did ask that question.
He asked the question,
And we didn't get the answer. It's 101,000.
Is that the one where he mentioned that we might not get the commuted sum?
Yeah, how can we guarantee that's coming, but why do they want it in the first place? That is what everyone's asking, and no one's had an answer.
Why do you want what?
You're saying we have to pay 145,000.
Yeah.
And we will get over 100,000 back in a period of time. Why do they need that in the first place? Why can't we then just give them the 40 odd?
That's a very good question.
This is what Councillor Adams asked.
I think Sarah wants to.
I was going to say, would it be because
Yeah.
it's illegal, they have to sell it at market value and then transfer it back?
Can I just ask Councillor Sawyer to answer that?
That's exactly what needs to happen. Because the local, so Brecon District Council can't be seen to just get rid of assets. We have to still sell them at a fair value.
Yes.
So we have to sell them in the first instance at a fair value, and then there has to be some accountancy work done in order to then give some of that money back.
So how do you get away with that then? Giving it back? Because does that not look bad either?
The community.
It sounds really bad when I'm now saying, as the words are leaving my mouth, I get that
sorry,
it sounds
but
really
I'm trying
bad.
to
No, I get that,
understand it.
I absolutely get that. So, as the local, well, any authority, when there's local government reorganisation happening, what the government don't want to have happen is for any of the local authorities to just do a bit of a fire sale and get rid of any of their assets. We've got, as the district, we've got bits of land, we've got car parks, we've got buildings, and they wouldn't want to see that you just did a fire sale and got rid of everything. So there are certain rules that you have to adhere to if you then go down the route of transferring of assets. The car parks were valued, and that value point is what it is that we need to be seen to sell the car parks at. We don't want to make any money on the car parks. We think it's the right thing to do for the towns to control those car parks. So we've agreed to do a commuted sum back should those towns that wish to take the option on to give that money back. So we have to get it as a capital receipt, but then we have to get it out of the door in another manner so it doesn't look like we've sold them off cheaply. It's a careful bit of accounting. That's a really bad way of putting it. But it's a careful bit of accountancy. What needs to be done is the public purse, whether it sits under our jurisdiction or whether it sits with you guys, it's still the public purse. We need to make sure that we're doing the right and proper thing with that money, but it's coming to us on the one hand and we just gift it back in the other. I get that it doesn't look great, and it sounds a bit of a faff.
You've answered the question that these councillors have been asking for the last couple of months.
And
if we can get that locked in, I know there's some concerns that you may not get it, but if the option where what you're currently going under, if we get that all done and tied up by the end of March, which is the end of this financial year, that's then locked in our budget. We've got a cabinet meeting at Brecklands on Monday where we're locking in our budget. If we've got this done and we've got that locked in, that's where the guarantee of getting that £100,000 come back, because it's programmed into our budget. So we can't then undo that
So
budget
what would that
because
go
that's
under?
been agreed.
The commuted sum is the maintenance cost on a yearly basis. So the £100,000 is 5 years worth of maintenance costs. And that's why it's paid back on a yearly basis.
So the ones that are being given away, those towns have had to prove that there is best value for those towns in receiving those car parks for free, but there will be conditions attached to those car parks and those towns that should they wish to have just freehold purchased them, you wouldn't have some of those same restrictions on it. So it's all to do with local government, the Local Government Act, I can't remember the year, and it's all to do with best value.
1999.
Well, it's some local government thing from way back when. So, but like I said, there's not a huge amount of councils that have gone through this and that have done this.
That seems a contradictory statement. You're saying you can't be seen to give these away, and then you're saying yes, we can give these away.
So we can't be seen to give them away when a town wants to take them on unrestricted, if you like. But if there's towns what want to have them for free, they have to come with restrictions. So it's for their use, how long that they, whether they could charge, whether they don't charge. It's all those various different things which all of the towns have got various different heads of terms, because all of the towns have taken on a different option. They'll be in control of those car parks, but with restrictions that if you have them as a freehold, you won't have those restrictions because they will be your car park and under your control.
Thank you. Councillor
I don't want to stir it up again, but is that not new information? I think it might be. What Councillor Soga just said, I think that is the new information that we were lacking earlier.
That's why I wasn't mentioned.
Yes, that is right.
Councillor Middlebrook.
Well, we are.
Just one question. Is that different local authorities appear to be getting a different percentage back? Can't we have 100% back?
You can't get 100% back.
All right,
and
you have 98.
I will double check the calculations of what it is, what you're looking to get back. But the calculations of all the different car parks, all the different towns have got different amounts of car parks and different values they are of a different. Obviously, Queen Square car park has just recently undertaken a decent upgrade, whereas there's several car parks in Deptford, for example, which haven't. So their values would all be different. So, but I will double check the calculations that you guys have got and make sure that we haven't shortchanged you in any way, which I'm sure we haven't. But I will double check those calculations.
Just very briefly.
Very briefly. So that percentage we get back, is that if we were to buy all three? Because obviously we're only getting one. So is there a chance of getting 100% back because we're only having the one? You're not paying us back for all three?
No, we're not paying back for all three. No, the payback would have been worked out on whatever it is. You chose to take on the one car park, so that value would have been done on the car park that you chose. If you'd have chose to have taken on all three, that payback would have been slightly more, but the amount that you would have been paying out would have been slightly more. So it's all relevant to what it is that you would have paid out. And I'm sure we did talk about this at that last meeting. It may not have been as clear as what we've just discussed it, but it was something which was mentioned at the last meeting, or the last time that we were here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Smith, Mr. Smith. Keep on you.
8th of December, there's a SORT meeting that Taylor chaired that was abandoned. So far, there's no minutes on the website and there's no video on YouTube. Please can you advise why and when?
There will be a video, and unfortunately I didn't do it on my phone. The recording failed, and that was my fault. But the minutes, I haven't even done the minutes. I've done the planning and highways, but I haven't done GP&F and I haven't done open spaces yet. But that is the next job in the morning.
Because there are meetings that came after that, a week after that. I think 3 different meetings that the minutes have managed to go for those.
Which
but that, I can't remember. There are certainly 3 on there for the 50th. Sorry, no, the video recordings for the 50th. My mistake. Given that that meeting was abandoned under some unusual circumstances, it would be good to have a full detailed minutes available for those who couldn't be there.
Yeah, that is my next job. It's just that we broke up on the 24th, and obviously, we weren't working during the Christmas period, so that's put me behind a bit.
Anybody else? No?
Sorry, another one. Just a little one. It's related to social media policy. I can see it says on there that Chair, Vice Chair and Clerk moderate the Facebook, but who posts? Who's the person that's actually posting?
Vice Chair.
I don't moderate, I want the house.
Well, I think we both do on occasion, but mainly me.
So who's the other one?
So that would be Paula in reception and Taylor. But obviously Andy could if he would, but he doesn't tend to get involved in that.
I don't do
but he has the
Facebook.
ability to, he's allowed to. But I do the main bulk of them.
Sharon, just for the record, do I ever post anything without agreeing the wording with yourself in advance?
Oh no, that's right. No, sorry, I should qualify that. Yeah, if there is anything to put on, it's always passed by me.
Okay. Yes, please.
Talking of social media, the Team Attleborough post that we commented on at the last meeting about the vile comment about a resident here that upset a councillor, that's still up, apparently. And that's a few months later, even after Vera sent a text to Tristan saying to take it down. Thus contravening your pathetic little online bill that you tried to force on everybody, for one. And a couple of meetings ago, main meetings ago, and a couple of tantrums, I asked about the status of the targeting of Daniel, both personal and in his business. Apparently he was told, told me to shut up. So I'd like to ask Taylor, why did you tell him that?
That's not the exact terminology that I used, but
Well,
I did suggest to Councillor Bircham that actually he should have corrected you, because he did know better that as a publican, actually the licence and inspection that was undertaken was a routine check. And
all the other 5 or 6 that he's been getting regularly?
I've done that for life, so I'll be able to tell you it's going to get back.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make it known and on record, as long as the video works, obviously, what's going on. And
there was nothing going on.
And again, well, there is certainly something going on because of fellow councillors being targeted, and all you lot quiet. And I'm sure we've got lovely
police checks every weekend virtually now.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. Thank you. Move on to item 17. Items to the next agenda. Yes, please.
2 points, if I may. At the last meeting, I noted what a wonderful job the litter pickers do, but also noted that what they collect is dumped outside the back of the town hall. It was noted that that would be removed regularly. It's still there from the last time. Okay. So I would ask that, I did suggest we provide a bin for it. It was referred to there was a cost, but as it was a charity or whatever, they would collect it for free and regularly as soon as they were told it was there. The same, I'm not going to call it fly tipping, but the same collection of fly tip rubbish that has been bagged up, including the wheels and everything that was there, is still there. So it's really just a management issue of, I'm going to say the litter picking is a wonderful thing, and it's great that people do it, but not then just to leave it somewhere else. And my second point, and probably more controversially, I would like this committee or the Standing Orders Committee to revisit the Standing Orders on public participation. I would propose that the first 10 minutes is only items on the agenda, and the second 10 minutes is any items that are pertinent to the running and what happens in the town.
All that business. Yeah.
Can I just can I point out that our meetings for the GPNF and open spaces, they are generally about half an hour long. So when you have 2 public participations, you've got 2 amounts of 10 minutes, which means you've only got 10 minutes to actually conduct the business, and that's disproportionate, isn't it? But I think to have public participation on full council is justified, but is that justified for the committee? I would question that.
Well, that's fine. I'm only it's.
I think in respect to full council meetings.
Yes, only in full council meetings. When the majority of the public. That's my personal view. If people are willing to support it and it goes on the next agenda for discussion, well, I've asked for it to go onto the agenda. Members can share their view. They may be totally against the way I perceive it, and in which case it won't get voted forward. So it's just a personal view.
If I may, it's actually only since last May that there's been a change when we reverted back to the template. Prior to that, both sessions were free to speak on anything. It was only in May we reverted to a different set of standing orders with different rules.
Sharon also referred to Thames. I believe, unless I've misread, the chair of the meeting has the authority to extend that to 15 minutes each time if there are. Yeah. But people only have a limit of 3 minutes per person to speak.
That's right.
So as long as that's upheld, then I think that's the way forward.
Yeah. I try and be as flexible as possible. Anybody else?
Did I get an answer for that Team Attleborough question?
No, because it's
not
Attleborough Council, which is.
But is the Brecon Councillors the admin?
I'm not sat at this table as the Brecon Councillor, I'm sat here as a town councillor.
So the vile comments on
it's
the
been
page
removed.
is by the Brecon Councillors?
It has been removed.
Good. Let's expect an apology at the next meeting.
Any more for next agenda? Okay, thank you. Item 18, exclusion of press and public.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dalton, Councillor D'Souza, all those in favour? Yeah.
Can we exhibit to right?
Yeah.
To be fair, it's the same.
She cold went for it.
She